Powers in Stranger Things don't always look the same. Some fight with their minds, some with their fists. From lifting trucks to tearing minds apart across dimensions, these powers weren't just tricks, they changed the course of the story. These are the top 10 strongest characters in Stranger Things, ranked. Number 10, Eddie Munson. Eddie Munson didn't start out strong. He started out running. When Chrissy Cunningham died in his trailer, levitating, screaming, and contorting in a way that no human body should, Eddie's world shattered. Not just because he witnessed it, but because nobody would believe he didn't cause it. From that moment, he was a hunted man. Eddie made a decision. He would stop running. Eddie never had powers, but what he had was heart, and that made him dangerous. In the Upside Down, he wasn't the strongest. He grabbed his warlock guitar, stood atop his trailer in the alternate dimension, and shredded Metallica's Master of Puppets loud enough to shake the sky. The bats came. The monsters swarmed. And he could have run, but he didn't. He didn't survive. But he changed the shape of the fight. Bought time for Dustin. It was a sacrifice that only someone brave and strong could have made. Number 9, Jim Hopper. Jim Hopper wasn't born a warrior. He became one. In Season 1, he starts as a man numbing himself with cigarettes and booze. But when Joyce Byers comes to him with a missing child and flickering lights, something clicks. And before long, he's punching government agents, breaking into Hawkins' lab, and standing at the gates of the Upside Down. He survives more than any normal human should. Demogorgons, Russian torture chambers, and even death itself. When he was thought to be vaporized at the end of Season 3, Hopper instead found himself in a Kamchatka prison. But Hopper refused to break. He killed a Demogorgon with a sword. More than his physical strength, Hopper's emotional core is what keeps him standing. His bond with Eleven isn't just fatherly, it's fierce. Hopper became the kind of man he once couldn't even recognize. A man who doesn't run. A man who fights for others. That makes him stronger than any weapon the Russians or the Upside Down could throw at him. Number 8, Dr. Martin Brenner. Cold, calculated, and undeniably powerful, not in body, but in mind. This is the man who created the Hawkins lab program, who weaponized psychic children. He didn't just control Eleven, he created her environment, manipulated her mind. Brenner was there when Henry Creel, the first test subject, 001, lost control. He witnessed the destruction of the Rainbow Room, saw the corpses of his other children on the floor, and even after that, he didn't quit. Eleven was his greatest success, but also his deepest fear. And still, he pushed her, trained her. But Brenner wasn't just a manipulative scientist. He was resilient. He builds Nina, the sensory deprivation program meant to restore Eleven's powers. In his final moments, Brenner carries Eleven through the desert while bleeding from a sniper's bullet. He begs for her forgiveness. She doesn't give it. But his strength isn't in redemption. Brenner's strength was never in kindness. It was in control. And sometimes, the scariest power is the one that doesn't scream. Number 7, Demogorgon. The Demogorgon was the first creature we ever saw crawl out of the Upside Down, and from the moment it arrived, it changed the world. It stalked and devoured without hesitation. In Season 1, it became the face of every child's nightmare in Hawkins, the thing that took Will Byers in the dead of night and dragged him across dimensions without leaving a single trace. It hunted on instinct, and it killed Bob. Even a group of armed men with guns and armor couldn't take it down. It moved faster than their bullets, climbed walls like a spider, and cracked skulls open like eggs. What made the Demogorgon terrifying wasn't just its strength or speed, it was its invincibility. When Eleven finally faced it, it took every ounce of her power to disintegrate it. One-on-one, no one else could have stopped it. In the Russian prison in Season 4, we saw another Demogorgon, kept as a bloodsport tool, and even after years of suffering, starved and caged, it still tore through an entire chamber of trained Russian guards in seconds. The Demogorgon doesn't evolve, and it doesn't need strategy to be powerful. It simply is. Number 6, Billy Hargrove. Possessed. Billy Hargrove was dangerous long before the Mind Flayer touched him. He was a villain by choice, a human one. But in Season 3, when the Mind Flayer claimed him, Billy became something else entirely. He lost control. This new Billy didn't just fight, he executed. He stalked and abducted townspeople, dragged them to the steel mill, and turned them into puppets for the Mind Flayer's army. He could smash through walls, shrug off punches. The Mind Flayer pushed him to manipulate, seduce, and destroy without mercy. At the Starcourt Mall, when Eleven was weakened, Billy hunted her like prey. When his hand was around her throat, Eleven did something no power could do. She reached the human inside. She reminded him of who he used to be. His mother. His beach. In that moment of clarity, he chose to resist. He turned on the Mind Flayer, knowing it meant death. Billy died as a person who chose to be strong. Number 5, Kali Prasad. 8. Kali wasn't part of the Hawkins story for long, but her presence left a mark. Kali wasn't a fighter like Hopper or a psychic battering ram like Eleven. 11. She was something different. Her power didn't exist in the physical world. It bent the mind. Illusion. Manipulation. In Season 2, when 11 meets her, we see a glimpse of what 11 could become if she chose rage instead of love. Callie is fierce. She lives by a code of revenge, hunting down those who hurt her and her kind. When she faces off against a SWAT team, she doesn't throw a single punch. Instead, she makes them see things that aren't there. Number 4. The Meat Mind Flayer. It started with rats, then humans. The result was the Meat Mind Flayer, a living weapon made from the corpses and tissue of its victims. This wasn't just a puppet. It was a conscious extension of the Mind Flayer's will, connected through the psychic hive. Its true strength was revealed at the Battle of Starcourt. 11, already weakened, couldn't even hold it back with her mind. What makes the Meat Mind Flayer terrifying isn't just its power, it's a symptom, a tumor, a warning. Number 3. The Shadow Mind Flayer. The creature in Season 3 was only the flesh. The real Mind Flayer is something else entirely. It has no body, no heartbeat, no face. In Season 2, it entered Hawkins by possessing Will, infiltrating his mind like a virus. It created a massive underground network of tunnels, vines, and growths, all linked back to itself. Unlike the meat version, the Shadow Mind Flayer doesn't need brute strength to win. It can stretch across dimensions. When Will drew its shape, it resembled a spider because that's what it felt like, a predator above all others. The Mind Flayer doesn't just want to destroy, it wants to dominate. It's the same entity that controlled the Demobats and Demogorgons. Number 2. Vecna/Henry Creel/1. At the top of the human hierarchy stands Vecna, born Henry Creel, transformed through trauma, hatred, and power. Henry was born with his powers: telepathy, telekinesis. He could sense the filth under the surface of people's minds, and it disgusted him. Vecna is terrifying because he's not just strong, he's meticulous. He doesn't rush. When he kills, he does it slowly, haunting his victims with visions of their guilt, shame, and trauma. Chrissy, Fred, Patrick, they all died screaming in their minds before their bones even snapped. He bends the power of the upside down to his will. Vecna is a mastermind and a monster. Number 1. 11. There was always something different about her. From the moment Dr. Brenner saw her potential, she became a vessel for power that even he didn't fully understand. At her weakest, she ripped open dimensions. She could snap necks with a glance and vanish entire creatures into dust. She closed the gate, not just physically, but emotionally. She sent one through the gate not out of vengeance, but sorrow. In her final battle with Vecna, 11 didn't win with strength. She won with memory, with love. 11 is more than just a girl with powers. She's the one being who has seen the upside down from both sides. There are monsters in this world, but there's only one 11. And if there's hope for Hawkins, for the world, for the balance between dimensions, it begins and ends with her. Thanks for watching. Let me know in the comments who you think is the closest to 11 in strength. And if you enjoyed this one, feel free to subscribe and like. More Stranger Things videos are on the way.